Okay, our next topic is emergence of modern nationalism. How did the modern nationalism evoke? How did the modern nationalism just emerge in the European continent? Let's have a look. The first and foremost thing I have already discussed with you, that is the French Revolution, the outcome of the French Revolution that also gave the birth of the idea of modern nationalism. Whereas number two is very important, that is the emergence of the modern nationalism. The modern nationalism, when it for the first time just aroused uh, inside the European continent, as because most of the countries later on, they had just dependent on the one single monarch or the monarchical government. When one single monarch is there, if he's just listening the voice of the common peoples, if he just giving all the privileges, not I will not tell the privileges, is giving the equal opportunities to all the peoples, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, religion, etc. At the time the sense of nationalism was also created. And most importantly, what has happened when Napoleon Bonaparte, he had have a war with different countries at the same time. You know, children, it very well that Napoleon Bonaparte, every time when he just sat on the throne in France in the year of 1799, before that, even after just sitting on the throne, he had to just fight, he had to just face severe difficulties in his life. So the first European coalition that were just constituted by different groups and different countries, there was a spontaneous and simultaneous fight for Napoleon Bonaparte. And when this thing was going on, the common peoples or the citizens of that particular area in which states Napoleon had have a fight with them, they sort to think that Napoleon can just do better for us. But when they had found the impression that Napoleon was not a actual hero, Napoleon was not only just fighting with all the countries to just bring the ideas of equality, liberty and fraternity. Instead, he has been just working very hard to bring his own dominance over there. Actually, he wanted to just conquer the territories, he wanted to just show off his power, he wanted to just expose his means vanity, the prestige to all over the world. So that's why when they came to know at the time, previously the first European coalition and the citizens, they had supported Napoleon Bonaparte not to their own government. But finally, when they came to know about the evil intention of Napoleon Bonaparte, they had started to support not Napoleon Bonaparte but to their own monarch. So in this way, the idea of nationalism was also very much encouraged. So idea of nationalism was also very much encouraged by this. And what was the fact finally? When the peoples of France, they had just fought together shoulder to shoulder, means at the time it was not a pre-plan for them that they will fight, but the situation, but the circumstances led them to do so. And in this way, when they had just chanted the hymn for their motherland, for their country France, and finally La Marseillaise, that was the most important means hymn for them. Just like the Indians, we are having the Vande Mataram of Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. We say the Vande Mataram is the national song of India. So just like that, the La Marseillaise also became the national anthem of France during that time. Napoleon Bonaparte and nationalism. Children, I have already told you that was the evil intention of Napoleon Bonaparte, and it was also revealed to the common people. Just because you cannot just push back the truth by just giving a wrap of the falseness, isn't it? So that's why it was very clear, just like water to everyone, that Napoleon, he was not the worshipper of the three basic ideals of the French Revolution: equality, liberty and fraternity, but he wanted to just restore the power and prestige of his only. Though he was not very much he was not having any hostile attitude towards the common peoples. I know, children, that he was also the worshipper of, means giving some privileges or the opportunities to the common peoples. Actually, he wanted to just make the combination. He was a combination of different things. He wanted to show off to the common peoples of France that he was not a very bad person. For that reason, the civil code or the Napoleonic code became very popular. Not only in France, it became very popular in all over the world at the time, especially in the European continent too. But what the common peoples or the third estate peoples, they had desired from Napoleon Bonaparte, there was absolutely no I mean they were totally disappointed, they were totally discontented what they had desired from Napoleon Bonaparte. And Napoleon Bonaparte could perhaps could not give all the rights, perhaps he could not just give away all the rights to the hands of the common people. So the idea of nationalism of Napoleon Bonaparte, there was a direct conflict between them. We can just see it's a very transparent to us. And for that reason, Napoleon Bonaparte, he had have a fight with different countries. Yes, children, we know that one of the most important reasons for the downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte, that was ignoring the terms and conditions of the Treaty of Tilsit that was signed in the year of 1807 between the Russian Tsar Alexander I and Napoleon Bonaparte himself. And finally, when he had just ignored all these things, he had just gone for a Moscow expedition, and finally by just appealing, by just adopting the scorched earth policy by the Russian Tsar Alexander I, Napoleon was badly defeated due to the harsh winter of the situation of Russia. Okay, number two, this was the second most important causes for the downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte, and that was obviously the Battle of Leipzig. So many historians, they have also just termed this battle as a battle of nations. The first European coalition, most importantly Russia, Prussia, Britain and Austria, they had just gave a fatal blow against France, against Napoleon Bonaparte. And in the Battle of Nations in the year of 1813, or in the Battle of Leipzig, just note this point: Battle of Leipzig and Battle of Nations, both are same. Battle of Nations and Battle of Leipzig of 1813, 1813 are same. There is no different issues, only the names are different, but the battle was same. Okay, so why the historians, they are just calling the Battle of Nations? As because against Napoleon Bonaparte, so many nations were just created, so many nation states were there, they had just fought shoulder to shoulder against Napoleon Bonaparte and his evil intentions. So that's why the revolt or this movement or the war came to be known as the Battle of Leipzig, or most importantly Battle of Nations of 1813. So in this way, finally Napoleon, his fate was absolutely sealed in the year of 1814 when the Battle of Leipzig or Nation came to an end. Napoleon, he just got defeated, as because this was the biggest mistake for Napoleon Bonaparte. He had just gone for a war for several times with different countries at the same time, with different nations at the same time. He could have a war with one after one, but he did not just do it. He ignored all these issues. He had have a fight with all the countries, with the first European coalition at the same time. So that's why they had just given a fatal blow to the Napoleon Bonaparte. And Napoleon Bonaparte, he was badly defeated in the Battle of Nations of 1813. So in the year of 1814, Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was sent to an exile. Exile, exile means নির্বাসনে পাঠানো, কাউকে কোনো শাস্তি স্বরূপ, as a compensation, as a penalty, as a punishment. A person is being just removed from his own territory, from his own land, from his own motherland to any other remote places. This is called exile. So Napoleon was given the same fate in the year of 1814. He was sent back to an exile. It was in the small island that was of Elba, of Italian coast. It was located in Italy at the time. And finally, what has happened, you know children, I have already told in my previous video that the final fate of Napoleon Bonaparte, that was sealed in the year of 1815 when Napoleon, he was having a fight with the British Duke of Wellington, British soldier, British Commander General Duke of Wellington, in the famous Battle of Waterloo that was fought in the year of 1815 between Napoleon Bonaparte. And from the British side, he was the commander, he was Duke of Wellington. So in this battle, in the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon was also defeated badly. And finally, he was sent back to the St. Helena Island of the west coast of Africa, and he had just died over there in the year of 1821 at the age of 51. I just repeat, in the final battle of Napoleon Bonaparte in his entire life, the last battle that was fought by Napoleon Bonaparte in the year of 1815, the Battle of Waterloo, when Napoleon Bonaparte, after getting defeated by Duke of Wellington from the sides of British Navy, he was sent for an exile to St. Helena Island of west coast of Africa. He had passed away over there. He passed away in the year of 1821 at the age of 51. Okay. Now our next topic is conflict of the monarchical and nationalist ideas. This is from page number 52. This is from page number 52, and our topic's name is conflict of monarchical and nationalist ideas. Conflict between the monarchical and the nationalist ideas. As in children, we have already just come to know till now that Napoleonic warfare, Napoleonic battle, as well as the French Revolution, two important factors had been just happened to two important factors had just taken place in not only in France. Most importantly, it had just spread out all over the continent in the Europe, in Europe, in the European continent. Since that time, what has happened? Napoleon, after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte, most of the countries, they were trying to restore the power and the prestige, the lost power and prestige of the different countries. As such, from the French Revolution, it was desired from every common sectors, from every common peoples of the European continent. They had desired that instead of the monarchical government, the nationalist idea can be very much fruitful for them. So that's why they had been just crying for that. They sought to think that instead of the monarchical government, if the republican government can be formed, if the republican government can be seen over there, it can be very much lucrative, it can be very much fruitful for us. But that did not play this certain facts. The story was something different. The story was something different. Something different was just waiting for them. Why so? As because we all know, children, that from the first European coalition, the most important countries, these countries are as follows: Austria, Britain, Russia, and Prussia. Austria, Britain, Russia, and Prussia, they were just trying to move forward to just re-establish, to just reconstitute their countries, whereas the nationalist feelings or the republican feelings had been just growing so rapidly that just gone the popularity inside their countries. The monarchs or the monarchical governments were absolutely just yet to be vanquished, isn't it? So that's why the four important countries, Austria, Prussia, Russia, and England, they were certainly gradually trying to just push all the common peoples to think that the monarch or the monarchical government is the best for the business. It's best for governing or administering a state or a country. So for that reason, they had decided, after the fall, after the sad downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte, meeting was just organized, the first meeting ever, the first conference in the history ever, that came to be known as the Vienna Conference, or the Vienna meeting, or the Vienna Note. So many students, they just call it the Vienna Note also. So the Vienna Conference was just organized in the year of 1815, and that came to be known as the Vienna Congress. And the Vienna Congress was just prescribed, it was just conducted by four different countries, four powerful countries such as Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. And what was decided? What are the main objectives? What were the main aims or the mottos behind the formation, behind the conducting this kind of conference? They had tried, they wanted to just restore the power and the prestige or the vanities of the monarchs or the monarchical government. Since the French Revolution, they had been trying very hard to just reimpose, to just reinstall the monarchical government in their own country, but it could not perhaps been possible for them. Perhaps it could not have been possible for them as because the Napoleonic War was so crucial. Napoleon was playing a very vital role in reshaping the European map. But when Napoleon was defeated, finally in the Battle of Waterloo, the task it became quite easy. It made easier. The situation got under control for the European coalition. So that's why they sought to think that situation is under control, and in this way we have to just inject the thinkings, the solidary and all these things inside the brain of the common people, so that they can be just convinced by the monarchical government, and one single monarch or the monarchical government, just like before, should be installed or reinstalled. This was just a desire. Okay, now from page number 53 we'll just come to know that what has happened to the in the Congress of Vienna. So Vienna Conference or Vienna Congress, what was the decision that was taken, and in which way the decision became very much effective to the society, we'll just see. This is very considerable fact to us, that the leaders who had just participated in the Vienna Congress in the year of 1815, that was just happened, that was just conducted, it was just desired that the previous monarchical government or the monarchs will be just reinstalled. We can say that they were very much conservatives. Why so, children? Why we're just telling conservatives? As because they were the believer, they were the worshipper of the monarchical governments. They strictly believed in the monarchs and the monarchical governments, not in the republican governments. They did not want to just follow the rationalism, the liberty, equality, fraternity. They were not looking forward for that. So that's why they were considered as the conservatives. And what has happened? How did how was the map of the European continent reshaped by the Vienna Conference or the Vienna Note? Let's have a look. What has happened? Can you just remember, children, the Bourbon dynasty? Before just getting the throne of the directory government in France, Bourbon dynasty, the last ruler of the Bourbon dynasty before the French Revolution was Louis XVI. He was just guillotined by the Reign of Terror, and finally Maximilian Robespierre. So since that time, Bourbon dynasty became extinct. Means not literally, but virtually it became extinct. So finally, the Bourbon dynasty of France was just reinstalled once again in France. Not only that, it was also given, the restoration was given effect to the legitimacy. Okay, the principle under which such restoration was given effect to, this was called the legitimacy. This is very important. The short question may just arise from there, that by adopting which kind of principalities or guidelines, or by participating which kind of policy the restoration process of the monarchical government was done. The answer will be the policy of legitimacy. The policy of legitimacy became very much effective, and for that reason all the monarchs, they had just got their rights back. So in France, Bourbon dynasty was reinstalled, as well as also in Sicily and Naples, the Bourbon dynasty. Sicily and Naples also, children, previously the Bourbon dynasty, they had have a rule over there. So in Sicily and Naples also, the Bourbon dynasty was reinstalled. The house of Savoy and Piedmont and Sardinia also. Domination of Austria over Germany and the northern Italy was confirmed. So in northern Italy and in Austria, the domination of Germany was going on, but due to the Napoleonic War and due to the French Revolution, for some periods of time, this was absolutely hampered, massacred. But after the Napoleonic era, after the Napoleonic War in the year of 1815, since the Vienna Congress or the Vienna Note, when it was just conducted in the year of 1815, the rights over Germany and few northern parts of Italy was given to Germany. Domination of Austria over Germany means in some extent the domination of Germany, and in North Italy the dominance of Austria was given. It was confirmed. Okay, similarly the House of Orange was restored in Holland. The House of Orange, just like the Bourbon dynasty, House of Orange was also there. There was the monarch also, the monarchical government was also there. So in Holland also, instead of the republican government, instead of the nationalist ideas, the House of Orange, they had just got their rights back in their hands. Thus, in the name of the legitimacy, the return of discredited monarchies was sought to be justified. So by the act of legitimacy, it was confirmed. All the important rulers, especially all the leaders, they had just, the confirmation was given that now onwards you don't have to do you don't need to just get read about that, as because by imposing the act of legitimacy, you have just got your rights back, and you can just go over there, you can sit on the throne, and you can just continue your dominance over there. Conflict with the ideas of nationalism. I have already told that in bringing back the pre-revolutionary order in Europe, the makers of the Vienna Congress, they tried to turn the government from republic to monarchical, or the monarchies. Actually, the political anarchy was there. It was just aroused due to some immense activities, due to some prominent activities of the Vienna Congress and the leaders of the Vienna Congress, Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Britain. Every time they wanted to see that their main intention was to just restore the power and the prestige of the monarch, so that they could just get very secured with that. And what has happened for the Metternich system? Metternich system is very important topic for this chapter, chapter number 3. So listen me very carefully. Metternich system is very important for your exam also. As the Vienna Congress totally disregarded the principle of nationalism, its work was bound to be temporary. Yet Metternich, the Chancellor of Austria, now let me tell you that what is Prince Metternich. Prince Metternich, or Charles Metternich, he was the Chancellor of Austria. Chancellor, it means Prime Minister. So Metternich, Prince Metternich, he was the Chancellor or the Prime Minister of Austria, and through his system of arrangement, the sitting arrangement before the exam is conducted by the teachers. Now, just like that, after after the downfall of Napoleon and his empire and his Napoleonic War, it was decided that Metternich, Prince Metternich, the Chancellor of Austria, will be given all the responsibility to do all the sitting arrangements. Not yet the sitting arrangement, as because they will, obviously you can just call it the sitting arrangement also, as because they will just sit on the throne of their respective places in their respective thrones. So the responsibility was given to Prince Metternich, and he was the actual creator for this kind of arrangement, and that later commonly known as to the Metternich system sought to preserve the settlement made in the Vienna Congress. In the Vienna Congress, everything should be neat and perfect, and the responsibility was given to the shoulder of Prince Metternich. The objectives of the system were preservation of the arrangements of made to the Vienna Congress, hostility to liberalism and nationalism. Hostility, hostile attitude, or bad behavior, not a good gesture, that was called hostility. So hostility, you have to show your hostility, hostile attitude towards the liberalism and nationalism. The nationalism, there is no chance. In European continent, there is no chance of the nationalism and the rationalism, liberalism, equality, liberty. No, as because the monarchical government will be restored. So you have to just forget the ideas that you have just earned, that you have just gained from the French Revolution during the time of Napoleon Bonaparte. Now the time has been just appeared. Now this is Prince Metternich, and he will just reshape. He will just give a shape of Europe that was just changed during the time of Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, preservation of monarchy. To preserve the monarchy and monarchical government was the main intention or the main motto of the Prince Metternich. As a believer in monarchy, Metternich considered monarchy as the one of the natural form. Metternich sought to think that a monarchical government or the monarch is the natural form of government. If you just find it, if you just search, you cannot just get an instance or any kind of examples where the common peoples have been just rolling over there. If it is there, if you have just found, that is not good, that is not best for the business, that is not for the best for the common peoples or the common citizens. So that's why he considered that a monarch should be given the right to just govern or to just administer the particular area or the country. Otherwise, if you just give it to the hands of the common peoples are not well acquainted with the political system or the political administration of a particular country, so it will be misruled. So it will be obviously misruled. Number 2, through the Vienna Congress, Metternich was successful in convincing the big parts or the powers. There was the revolutionary conspiracy. He had convinced all the European big powers such as Prussia, such as Britain, such as Russia. He had just convinced, Prince Metternich, he had convinced that the revolutionary conspiracy is going on. And what is the source of which country is the source of revolutionary conspiracy? You have to just write it in the comment section, that which country was the source for just spreading this kind of thinkings and this kind of which country became the most important point, which country became the most important center from where the revolutionary conspiracy was just going on. Okay. Number two, through the Vienna Congress, Metternich was successful to convincing the big powers. I've just discussed this. This amounted to a threat to the existence of the monarchical supremacy, executing the quadruple alliance of the big four powers, that is Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Britain. Prince Metternich, he wanted to just see that at the Vienna Congress, Metternich virtually built up a police system, and his intention was to oversee the preservation of the monarchical predominance and prevention of the spread of the idea of liberalism and nationalism. Conflict. Now the conflict has been just aroused from the sides of Napoleon, Prince Metternich. He has started this kind of conspiracy, as in there was a big clash between the nationalist feelings, the nationalist and the monarchical governments, finally who own. Up to these children, we have just come to know from our today's topic that when Prince Metternich or the Charles Metternich, he was the Chancellor or the Prime Minister of Austria, he intentionally, deliberately, he wanted to just restore the power and the prestige, the lost power and prestige of the monarch. So that's why his intention was to just create a police system in all over his country. What kind of police system? Here, the police system will be the monarchs and his associates. They will just look after all the important governance and the administrative systems of a particular area from where they could easily just govern, they could easily just administer their own country, as any sort of thing. That revolutionary conspiracy, revolution could be a serious threat for the society. So that's why he wanted to just eradicate all these revolutionary ideals such as equality, liberty and fraternity for the common peoples. A clear message was sent from the Vienna Conference of 1815, from where Prince Metternich, he had played a very vital role to just reconsider, to just reshape the European continent once more after the unfortunate defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte in France. So up to these children, if you're having any doubt, any query, any question, just go to the comment section, write it over there. If you just like the video, just give it a thumbs up and just subscribe my channel for the, and just press the bell icon so that you can just get all the notifications further. I'm just going to be professional day by day. Okay, bye, stay safe, stay home. Thank you.